Interest rates, real estate, recession, housing. What is the future of all of this? These are major concerns. I get phone calls quite a bit from especially first-time homebuyers that are dealing with this type of housing market that we're in right now, which is kind of a unique one. I've been doing mortgage loans for about 9 years now, and I've never seen anything like the current market environment that we have. However, I do a ton of research so that I know where things are headed. And while nobody has a crystal ball and can tell the future, there are certain key pieces of data that I want to share with you guys that will kind of help us show or what we can expect with the future of housing. So one of the biggest concerns I get is there a crash coming? If I buy a house now, am I going to lose value in that home? Or should I wait for interest rates to drop? Or should I wait for home prices to drop? These are all valid questions that a lot of people have some concerns about. So I want to dive through some data and some information that I think could be super helpful, because I think specifically for millennial home buyers. So millennial home buyers are people my age, basically. So, mid to late 30s. I'm dating myself here, but whatever. I'm 38 years old, just turned 38 last month. Don't care. The most major recession for people that are in that age group was the housing crisis or the housing bubble of '08. A lot of people are comparing the increase in home price and the increase in interest rates and just how expensive everything is to that era or to that decade. But I want to show some information today that will show you why that one in particular was a one-off. Almost every single time when there's a recession, housing gets better, meaning that home values increase during recessionary timeframes. The other thing that happens literally in every single recession, including the housing crisis, is that interest rates go down during a recession. I've got a couple slides that I want to share with you here. Part where you throw it up on the screen. Don't put me in a corner. Don't put Braden in a corner. This is a graph regarding housing, and you can see those gray bars are the recession timeframes. And this goes all the way back to the 1960s. And then that white line that we see going up and up and up with a dip down and then back up is housing or home values. As we can see, if you look at every little gray bar and the little white bar, what has happened in every single recession? Has it gone up or down? Doesn't take a genius to realize that it's gone up every single time, except the one in 2008. There was a big downturn in that one. But if you notice, every other one since then has been up. The reason for the '08 crash was very different. That was a time of the Wild West in the lending world. From what I'm told, I got into the mortgages after that time frame. I didn't live it during that time frame, but I was working in banking during that time frame. And I do remember our mortgage guys freaking out, and I remember everything that happened. And I was one of those people that bought a house, not at the top, but while it was on its way down. So it wasn't at the bottom. And I was one of those people, all my friends and even some family members told me, I don't think it's a smart time to buy right now because home values are decreasing. I think you can get a better deal. I bought a house anyway. I did lose a little bit of value the first couple of years, but I made a ton of value when I finally sold that thing. This is why I'm such a big believer in don't listen to everybody else out there. Find the time that works for you. If you're gonna buy real estate and wait, chances are it's going to increase in value, especially in our time frame right now. Because what are all the other data points pointing to? That we are either in or headed into a recession. So what does a recession mean? Because I still feel like there's a lot of people confuse recession with housing crisis because of the big one of '08. But that was not the most recent recession we were in. Anyone remember the most recent recession we were in? A little thing called COVID. That was the most recent recession. It's an economic slowdown. It's when things are slowing down. That one was a big one because COVID was a straight up shutdown. I mean, most of the time, most places were literally, we had stay-at-home orders. We couldn't leave the house. I mean, you guys know what it was like during COVID. I don't have to explain that. But that was a recessionary time frame. And what happened for interest rates during that time frame? Let's get a new graph here. So this one shows mortgage rates with recessions. So the previous slide was with housing and how the home values go up. This one shows actual interest rates. And again, this one goes all the way back 1972. So this is a pretty big graph. You look at the first one, which is in like 1980, that recession. Interest rates before the recession were at 16%. And then during the recession, they dropped to 11.75. I mean, that was almost a 5% decrease in interest rates. And then same thing, the second one after that big yellow bar there, 18% down to 13% for mortgage rates. And I'm still getting complaints that 7% is too high, guys. Come on. Our parents were paying 18 to 13%. They were pumped when it was at 13% because it had just dropped from 18. They were stoked for that. Now keep in mind you could buy a house for like $80,000, but that was a little different time frame. This is just to show the overall trends. We look at the next one, somewhere in the late 1980s. Interest rates went from 11% to 8.75. Early 2000s again, interest rates dropped from 7.3 to 6.7. Crash of 08. Interest rates were around 6%, they dropped to 4.875. And then the most recent one, the COVID one, the one we all love, the one that we will never ever see again in our lifetime. Interest rates went from 3.7 down to 2.75. What does this mean if we're about to head into a recession? What's happened 100% of the time with interest rates? They've gone down. As we enter a recessionary time frame in the economic world, we can expect interest rates to go down. However, this is the part where we need to caution you a little bit because, and this is why it's a good thing to buy while interest rates are high. Because again, as interest rates get lower, more people start to become excited to buy homes again. A lot of people don't like that 7%, or maybe they don't really qualify for anything at 7%. I'm seeing a lot of that right now. With every 1% drop in interest rates, what was it? It was like 5 million more people qualify. What does that create? That creates more demand. And let's take a look at supply. So this is our inventory or our supply graph that we've got here. This one still blows my mind. Again, this one goes back the early 1980s. 1983 is as far back as this graph goes. You can see these are the inventory for homes. And that other blue line is the average. So there's always been about an average of 2.5 million homes available for sale at any given time, again with ups and downs. Where are we at right now? We have, it's like 870,000. I mean, that is a stupid low number. So what happens when there is not very much of something and a lot of people want it? Price goes up, guys. I know I feel like I'm beating a dead horse with this concept, but that is really ultimately what home prices and the housing market comes down to. It is supply versus demand. Right now, there are still not enough homes. Builders are being very, very cautious because of the crash of 08. They overbuilt back then, and they don't want to go into that same problem that they had before, so they're being very cautious. But they're not building enough to keep up with demand, and that is what is ultimately going to cause home values to continuously increase. So again, even as we enter into a recessionary time frame, we can expect housing to increase in value and we can expect interest rates to go down, which will just further create more and more housing. Let's throw this one up there too. So this is another graph. This is the number of households. So again, this is also looking from 2007 up until 2021. So this graph's a couple years old, but you can see the picture that it's painting. If we go back to the record low inventory and then we look at the number of households, we are seeing this. There are less and less homes available and more people. So that's just teetering more and more in this supply versus demand thing, which is just going to cause home prices to be continuously higher and create more competition for those homes. You're in a position and you're able to purchase now while less people are interested because of interest rates, because of all the fears. This is a great time. This could be a phenomenal opportunity. Just like when I bought my very first house in 2009, I was told it was a bad idea and it was one of the smartest things I ever did. It allowed me to purchase this home and it allowed me to set myself up for financial success. Don't let the news scare you. Yes, we have a recession coming if we're not in it already. But what does that mean? That means we can expect housing to stay strong, interest rates to get better, and overall home values to continuously increase. If you guys do have any other questions, as always, hit me up in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that little alert button so you see a new video every Monday when they roll out.